Hello, tarot people. It's MA here. I've been watching a lot of the end of year tarot tags, and a theme is coming up about people going into 2026 on a no or low buy year. And I started thinking about that, and also Sarah at Tangy Tarot did a great video about like no cost gift giving in tarot. And that got me to thinking about doing probably a series of short videos with some low and no buy activities to kind of support what we're trying to do. This is for people who are doing low or no buy. This is not to convince anyone that they need to do that. Let's not go down that avenue again here on TarotTube. But if this is something that you're aspiring to or starting to think about for next year or any year, let's talk about it. And I would love for other people to add activities to this. Because yeah, I think it's important. There's certainly things we tell ourselves not to do, like I'm not going to buy, I'm not going to watch unboxing videos. But I think it's fun to think of what will we do instead. So the first activity I have is a spread, and the spread is about your why, or my why. Why am I doing this? How am I going to do it? And what's going to happen if it doesn't go according to plan? So we may be making a list for ourselves of what low or no buy means to us, whether that means we're going to stick to a certain budget, we're not going to buy anything, or we're mostly not going to buy, but we have some exceptions for either certain decks we know are coming out next year, or certain Kickstarters that might come up, or new decks by a favorite artist that might come out. So that's all great, but I also wanted to think about getting a little more into the core here. So I have a spread with 5 positions, and I will write the prompts in the comment or description box, and I'll also put a link to Sarah's video from Tangy Tarot. So since once and this is something you don't have to pull cards for this, so I'm calling it a spread, but could also just be things to think about or to journal about, because I can't guarantee that the cards I'm going to pull while talking about this are going to make immediate sense to me. I'm doing this kind of impromptu. Okay, so I think something we might think about is, what is the core reason that we're doing this? And I think there are 4 categories that I came up with, and there certainly could be others, but some of them would be financial, right? You don't have the money, or you don't want to spend the money anymore, and it's a financial issue. The second one might be storage. You don't have space for any more decks. The third might be you don't have mental space for any more decks. You might have unused decks. You might be feeling overwhelmed. And a fourth one might be you're just trying to cut down on consumerism and consumption in general. And it could be any combination of those and other things as well. So the first thing I would question, and again, I'm just going to put down a card, is what is the core reason for entering into the low and no buy this year? The second prompt or question is, what will support that goal for you? What's going to hold you up? What's going to kind of hold you to the parameters that you've made for yourself? The third card or prompt, and I think this is kind of, speaking of core, this is another really core question to spend time on outside of this spread, but to kind of keep calling back to, is whatever this core reason is. Again, thinking of the 4 off the top of my head: the financial, the physical space, the mental space, the consumerism. I think it's important to say, where else is that core, let's call it a problem or thing that you're trying to solve for, where else does that show up in your life? Because the odds are that if you're feeling that you want to change something about your tarot purchasing behavior, that may be also showing up elsewhere in your life. So I think that's something to ponder about, upon, journal upon, be aware of. One reason, and this isn't showing up in this card, but, is the purchasing filling a gap? And is that behavior extending into other things besides tarot decks? Okay. The prompt or card number 4 would be, what if I falter? What am I going to do either to correct myself? How am I going to treat myself? I mean, how are you going to behave toward yourself with love and compassion, hopefully, when and if you falter and fall off the plan that you've made for yourself. And lastly, how can we harness the energy of those urges, like that attraction, right? So if we're drawn to a deck, like there's something there, that's energy that's rising up. And how can we harness that energy towards something other than purchasing a deck? And yeah, so that's how I'm starting us off. And I have I have about 10 or 13 things that I've written down so far. So I'm thinking of putting them out as short videos, maybe 1 or 2 grouped together and put in a playlist. If other people have ideas, I would love to see them. And if this is something that you're doing next year, I wish you all the best. And yeah, I hope you'll play along. Thank you. Bye.